All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
Hey, it's the Mark Thompson show with Kim filling in and Hal Rudnick next to me co-hosting the show. It was your birthday weekend. Woohoo! How was it? You went to Disneyland. Tell me.
I did. That's why I'm wearing this. And I got my mouse ears, and they. Can you see the back?
Oh, so cute.
Yeah. Got my name on it.
Hal, love it.
Yep. And it was lovely. I got my monogrammed mouse ears, and we took our 10.5-month-old daughter to Disneyland. It was her first time, unless she snuck out of the house in the middle of the night and went down there without me knowing it. And she did so well, and it was so heartening. My wife and I were just like, oh my God, we're a family here. Man, we're really living the dream.
You guys are so cute. So cute.
And she went on It's a Small World, on the Dumbo ride. There's surprisingly several rides that an 11-month-old, 10-month-old child can go on.
Yeah.
As they sit in their parents' lap. But then there was one ride that drove her a little batty. It was this Spider-Man ride that's new. It was in California Adventure in the Avengers campus theme park portion there. And
yeah, my nephew did not like that one. When he was 4, he was still like, nah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For a 10-month-old, it was just overwhelming. It was so loud, and the visuals were chaotic. And it's one of those rides with a screen where you're just watching everything happening.
No, too much.
And
it's kind of a video game that's okay.
Yeah, it's a video game.
It's almost like a light gun.
But my wife, we had our baby, and my wife was consoling her, and I'm like, okay, you got her? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I'm like, all right, then I'm gonna play.
I'm gonna go. I'm out.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
It was really lovely, and I was very surprised, Kim. I don't know when the last time you've been down there to Disneyland, or
been
if
a couple years. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more access to alcoholic beverages on
that's a new thing.
entirety of the Disney. It's not hard to find at all.
No. Used to
especially
be
in California Adventure.
Used to be it was a dry place, but not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, Walt didn't want people staggering around. Meanwhile, I'm sure he was quite an imbiber back in the day, but. Yeah, and since it was my birthday, listen,
Did you get the birthday button?
I took advantage. Yes,
Nice.
I got the birthday button, and they are contractually obligated to wish you a happy birthday.
Every 5 seconds, that's right.
Every 5 seconds. That was lovely. Oh, but here's a little bugaboo that I discovered about Disneyland. So, I knew that I wanted to be taking pictures and stuff all day, and my phone wasn't fully juiced up when I left the house, and I'm like, not a big deal, I'm just going to bring my charger with me. No, there are no, by design, there are no outlets for you to use in restaurants or just walls near a ride or anything. No outlets. Nope. And it's a racket because they want you to buy this $30 little
battery.
Charging
the swappable battery.
Yep. They want you to buy this little battery for $30. So they get you coming and going and charging and recharging.
It's ridiculous.
Man.
Well, back in the day, they used to sell film in the park, Well, they can't do that anymore. So they got to sell the battery now, and the app kills your battery in the phone. It's all a racket.
Yep. There it is.
Did you do the, I forget what they call it now. They might have changed the name of it, but it's the thing where you pay, $10 extra a ticket or $20 extra a ticket, and it
35.
comes. Is it 35 now? And you get the photo magic thing where they take your picture everywhere you go. It's like you could stand in line and then it goes to this little file and you have all these professional
No.
pictures at the end of the day. That's kind of a cool thing.
No,
I think
but
it's part of the line skipping.
Yeah,
thing
it is.
now.
It's part of
And
it's part of that
yeah.
package.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This is. I'm probably going to get in trouble. The police are going to show up and knock at my door as I reveal this. But my wife. We went with another couple. They had an 8-year-old daughter, and it was just a nice day all around. But we hired this special non-Disney employee tour guide who had beyond fast pass or like line skipping privileges and just got us through the
What?
and also they were checking all the times of like
Okay.
what the wait times are.
Sure.
And they were like these Disney savants that guided us through the park. It was
Who has that skill? Tony has that skill.
I've kind of done that a couple of times.
Tony,
Yeah.
Well, would you say, hey, let's make Disneyland a video game? I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do. And
Yeah,
now
you
it's-
game the-
once it's a
they
video
game
game,
the
I can
system.
min-max the park.
yeah, they game the system. How many times have you been to Disneyland, Tony?
In total, I mean, I went a lot
Give or
when I
take.
was a kid.
Yeah.
Recently, not in a while, but I mean, I went like a year ago or something, 2 years ago. But my friend's mom worked there growing up, so
Gotcha.
that was where they dumped us as kids on Saturdays. It was just
That's
like
a great place to be dumped.
just
I'll
dumped
take
us on a
that.
Saturday. Like, hey,
Yeah.
his sister worked there too as a dancer. And she's like, hey, her last performance is at like 7:30, so just be in the employee part, be in her car at like 8 o'clock. Okay, so we just had all day to goof around and do stupid
Oh,
stuff.
that's
and
fun.
Right on.
Like,
Southern
every
California
weekend.
kid. Yeah.
By the way, I'm noticing in the chat, Dillette Ziegelman Jackson says, I'm not a fan of Disneyland.
Oh.
Here's the thing. I think
I'm a
Disney's
fan of what
mi-
it was. Yeah.
Disney's a bit of a mixed bag,
Yep.
It's I think there's absolutely an issue with the way Disney socializes children to like girls should be these demure princesses and boys are the macho hero or whatever. I feel like it doesn't leave any gray area. People are individual. And it's absolutely too crowded. So there are plenty of issues. Like it's very anti-feminist, and I think that you need to change. And you've seen some better, like more rugged and strong female heroes for kids. But you know what? It's still the place where dreams are made. It's a rollicking good time. Good
You were
exploring those parks.
They
You were
designed a
surpri-
hell of a park, kind of thing from the 50s. Like those guys figured stuff out. Like
Oh yeah.
that haven't been
And
recreated
you know what?
since.
I do love that the park, just to get back into like some of the core stuff that the show is about here. I love that the park is driving Ron DeSantis up a wall in Florida. So don't mind seeing that.
Murphy has the skill too. She says, I know all their locations, shortcuts, line hacks. I can cut through the park like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, go Murphy.
You mentioned earlier that you were surprised to see alcohol on the premises.
I was.
Yeah.
Because the tour guides we were with said, "Oh yeah, there's a new Star Wars cantina," and we went in there and had a couple of mixed Star Wars drinks, and then I knew it was at California Adventure, but then we went to just a regular restaurant and like the New Orleans Bayou or whatever,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Ooh,
there
got
was
in there.
alcohol
Nice.
there.
That is
Yeah.
impossible to get in the Blue Bayou.
Oh no, we weren't in the Blue Bayou. It was
Oh, okay.
I was just grasping for I forget what the name of the restaurant was.
The one
they
that's
kind of
attached to it. Yeah.
run together. Yeah.
I love the Blue Bayou. It's kind of cool to sit there and have all the twinkling lights and feel like you're in the dark. I love it.
Oh
Yeah.
well, here's Flo donating there $4.99 to the
Flo
cause.
says my wife and I found Avengers Land and California Adventure not on par with Star Wars Land at Disney. We love both parks, but Marvel Adventure. Sigh.
Oh,
Thank you, Flo, for the contribution. We appreciate it.
Absolutely agreed. There was a scary ride at the Marvel Adventureland, the Avengers campus, that I decided not to go on. It was one of those drops.
Oh, the Twilight. It used to be the Twilight Zone ride.
Yes, the
And then they
Tower
made
of
it
Terror.
Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Appreciate that.
Well, happy birthday. I'll take the balloons down, but it's a day after your birthday, right? Happy celebration. Was it Saturday
2 days
or Sunday?
after,
Okay.
but
We're
yeah,
still feeling it. It's the
it was
post-birthday
a whole
high.
birthday weekend. So and
Awesome.
hence that's why I'm wearing that.
I love it.
Had a fantastic time.
I'm
time.
so glad to hear it, and I love that you took your little one for the first time. It's
Oh,
always sweet to see
that
their reaction, you know?
as I was holding her as we sailed through It's a Small World on those little boats, she was just in awe and pointing and wide-eyed, and doggone it, if that isn't just the sweetest. It was great.
Wes with $5, thank you, Wes, says, look up Washington Post article, Disney World abruptly starts banning third-party tour guides.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down.
I guess you can't do that over there at Disney World. I don't know. Let's talk about politics. What do you think? Because we've got this whole Trump vice presidential running mate choice on the line.
I heard it was down to 3 or so.
He's already made his choice.
Woo.
He says he's already chosen, but he hasn't told the person that he picked yet. And now his team is going back and forth, like, when is the best time to announce? They said they were going to announce at the Republican National Convention. And now they're looking at the date of his sentencing for the 34 felony counts in the hush money trial.
Yes.
And they're thinking, should we announce before the hush money sentencing? Should we announce after? What makes the most sense? I think they're trying to maybe scoop that decision and make that sentencing not as big of a deal, because people will be talking about the vice presidential pick instead of the fact that, whatever the sentence will be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, yeah, he wants to hijack the news cycle
That's exactly
in a
right.
positive way for himself. But I wonder if there are Vegas odds for this between, who is
I'm
it?
sure there are.
JD Vance, the hillbilly elegy guy, Marco Rubio, and who's the third one? He was a congressman.
There's a
or
bunch of them. As a matter of fact, Tony has rounded up some pictures of these folks.
Oh, yeah.
And
this rogues
there's
gallery.
this is pretty much the gallery of all the different people who could possibly be the vice presidential pick. And I think the first picture Tony has is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's on the list. I know.
Barf. Come on.
Yeah, there she is. So she's got her MAGA hat on.
Dumb.
Well,
Not just a dumb person, but doubling down on dumb.
If he wants a yes person, then she's the one for the job. Another person under consideration would be Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina.
Yes.
And so he's in the mix there.
Tim Scott truly made me laugh when the 34 counts came in guilty. Tim Scott put out this video where he was indignant about it, but it just rang so false and so fake. They all know that Trump is a huckster and a criminal, yet they all protest and say, they just get in line and fake it. They get in line and fake it.
Next one is JD Vance. We've heard a lot about him.
Oh yeah, hillbilly elegy. There
he is. So JD Vance is on the list. And let's just say she's not my favorite person. Carrie Lake of Arizona is on the list. And it's not a bad thing to have someone from Arizona, because, you have all these people from the East Coast. So maybe having someone from Arizona would kind of bring that whole, America together kind of thing. I don't know. I really hope I guess it doesn't matter. Each one is worse than the last. So
Carrie Lake was such a hardcore election denier. It just, it's
even for her own election. Yeah,
even for her own election. And then it's disgusting, because it's just undermining democracy, where you should be congratulating for having a fair election during the pandemic. Nope, they are just tearing the fabric of what's tenuously holding this country together.
Then we have Kristi Noem, she of the gravel pit and the animal killing.
Oh gosh,
there she is. I mean, she's pretty on the outside, not so pretty on the inside. This one.
Yeah, exactly. When I heard her name, I got excited because I thought she was a fantasy character, a gnome. But no, it's
No,
Noem. And
no, yeah.
yeah, we talked about that story with her and the dog, I think, a while back,
Hmm.
and it's just what a horror! What a horror!
This is what, Marco Rubio? Yeah.
And he's another one of these folks that Trump mercilessly made fun of and mocked, and now,
Hmm.
again, falling into line, falling into line.
After he was offended by Trump, like he was ridiculed and called names, and still, here we go, crazy. This is
Wild. Little Marco.
Katie Britt. She's the one that got up and did the speech, the rebuttal speech in the kitchen where she acted all
Oh, yeah.
strange and wide-eyed and like she was on something, like
And she
weird.
was so intense.
Yeah.
As a mother, as an American, her response to the State of the Union, like it was like she was all at once frightened, livid, regressive.
I don't know if
By
we
the
can
way,
handle.
I'm in the kitchen where I belong.
I don't know if we can handle 4 years of the high drama with that one.
No, no.
Then we already saw this lady. I don't know if I want to see her anymore either. Sarah Huckabee Sanders on the list.
Oh,
I know.
I, you know, and the thing about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you know, like I dislike her very much, but also she's one person that stands out of this field where I can tell she's an intelligent human being, but she's using her powers for the dark side. Like she's fully, and obviously she's a Huckabee. Oh,
Yeah.
quick question, Kim, and
Yeah.
for the chat, if you're not familiar with this, have you ever seen her dad, Mike Huckabee's talk show?
No, I haven't.
He's got a talk show. It's either on the Bible Network or the Nashville Network. Sorry, those all run together for me, or Country Music Television or something. Sorry for being
No.
East Coast, West Coast elitist there. But it's this talk show where it's just like, imagine if like one of the Osmonds hosted a talk show where they had religious figures, musicians, maybe, and then like a random like juggler or something, or guests like just conservative celebrities like Joe Piscopo or someone like that. Tony, great work finding this stuff.
Yeah.
There you go. Mike Huckabee has this folksy, very corny, almost. If you watch it ironically, it's moderately entertaining. If you watch it kind of a hate watch, being like, oh my God, this guy, on one end of the spectrum, there's David Letterman and some of the greats. And then the other end is like, this is nonsense.
Well,
Worth looking up.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's the shtick, right? Is just this good old boy type of thing. I don't know. Some people though don't watch it as a joke. Some people buy that whole thing like that. That's their jam. That corny, hokey thing. That's what they buy into.
Absolutely. Just that is their brand of Americana, and they don't want to veer from that.
I agree with teacher Lori, who says Sarah seems like the most qualified, maybe. Like you say, she seems like she's got something going on in the brain, but then, yeah, I don't know. Do you want someone stupid who just has been duped into the whole Trump thing, or do you want someone who is kind of underhanded and knowingly realizes that this is bad for America, and then they do this anyway?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kim. Like you because if it's just a mindless doofus like Marjorie Taylor Greene or a couple of the other folks, then it's like, all right, at least you'll have an idiot in charge.
Yeah.
But potentially, and maybe be the next in line. But with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I think she knows how to play the game that much more. I mean, she was frustratingly effective as his mouthpiece for years when she was the press secretary. So
and loyal. So I don't know. Yeah. Next one is Elise Stefanik, There she is in her flowery dress.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got Ben Carson, who he's the guy that had this scandal when he was, what was he, the Secretary of Housing or Urban Development or
Yes.
something, and
Yes.
he bought all this expensive furniture for the offices there. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
the-
Dr. Ben Carson, by the way.
Oh, sorry, he's a neurosurgeon, right, or a brain surgeon?
Yep.
Yeah. Next one is Vivek Ramaswamy. Didn't we have enough of him already?
Oh God, this guy is more like Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really a Trump lackey, and I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Greg Abbott from Texas, right?
Yep, Governor
Yeah.
Greg Abbott of Texas.
Governor Greg Abbott on the list, right in
Yeah.
front of the border wall there. Look at that. Isn't that nice?
Yep, and just making sure Texas stays regressive in terms of gun laws, the border, and women's health issues.
Here we have Representative Byron Donald of Florida. Yeah.
Not
He's
as
on the
familiar.
list. I don't think you could have two candidates from the same state. And technically, since Trump lives in
Yeah.
Florida, I don't think you can pick him. I don't know. Here's former Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. She's got a lot of skeletons in that closet. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
wasn't she formerly a Democrat, but then she just kept moving right. The blue went to purple, and now it's red, and just was a little too libertarian, and now just conservative for.
I thought she had some conspiracy theory stuff going on. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I think
wouldn't doubt it.
she might be a little Lulu. I don't know. She's a hard one to figure out.
Oh, she's the one that's a little Lulu? I think this list is rife with Lulu.
This is the Lulu list.
Yeah.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. Yeah.
Oh, man, he stepped into the void when their previous governor had that stupid blackface scandal, right?
I don't remember the blackface scandal. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a
Possibly,
blackface
yeah.
scandal from the previous, and he got he
And
lost.
This is why he
This is
came to
probably like
power.
5 years ago. I mean, that was one of the catalysts. I
Yeah.
mean, Virginia's governor was doing well, and then some stupid decisions from his past really undermined him.
Next one is North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. You hear his name mentioned, but then it just kind of goes away. I don't think he's got a lot of traction, this guy.
So when I was watching one of the news channels this weekend, and they popped up pictures of him, J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio as
the top contenders, huh?
Yeah, as the cream of the crap.
There's Tom Cotton, senator from Arkansas.
One of the more youthful of the bunch.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess you need the youth when you're going into a race like this.
Yeah, when you're dealing with septuagenarians and octogenarians.
Guess who else is on the list? This is Tucker Carlson is on the list.
Oh, gross. What?
Right?
Yeah. Just a hateful fearmonger, like so hateful, just so unabashedly, veiled dog whistles, just like white supremacist dog whistles.
He's become
I
really
dislike
popular in
this
Russia.
guy.
He's become very popular in Russia.
Oh, well, he did that. He had a sit down with Putin where
did.
all he did was toss Putin softballs, and Putin, just toyed with him and played with him.
Yeah.
Oh, Tucker Carlson really just neutered by the worst, the worst ideals, and unabashedly a white supremacist.
Here is another upstanding individual. It's Congresswoman Nancy Mace, everyone. Yeah.
Is she the one that was talking? She got into some real interesting squabbles regarding women's health issues and abortion, and I guess she had either a miscarriage, if I'm not wrong, and because she was losing this debate or coming across poorly on television, she kept accusing the interviewer of attacking her.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, and he kept saying, I'm just trying to ask you a simple question, not in regards to you. And because he was going down this path in regards to abortion, she kept bringing it back. How dare you attack me as a woman?
I think it was a sexual assault. Is what it was. Yeah. Yeah. But yes, one and the same.
Yeah.
I have a couple more. One more for you. Oh, and we're back to Marge. Never mind. We're back to Marjorie Green. So that those are the ones. Those are the possibilities. And I don't know. We'll see. But within the next month, I think we'll probably get some information as to who this person will be. Yeah.
Yeah. Like many people who are in this space with us, I just am dumbfounded that this guy can orchestrate January 6th, be convicted of 34 felonies, be accused and convicted of sexual assault by convicted in one case, but accused by so many others. The list goes on. He's a monster who gives people the go-ahead to be their worst selves and hate.
I have this story about debate prep. So the debate is coming, right? And it's about the difference in the style of getting ready. And this kind of makes sense. So President Biden is meeting with his team. He's got his lawyers acting like a fake Donald Trump, right? Throwing everything at him. So they're working on it. They're practicing. They're preparing. This article out of The Guardian says Trump is freewheeling it. He's not really practicing. He's like, he's just going to show up and whatever happens, happens. This is the difference. And I don't know if maybe just showing up and speaking your mind makes you seem less contrived and more genuine. In his case, I don't think so. Or if it makes you really seem ill-prepared. I will tell you that. I want to show you this video. This is crazy. When you talk about preparing and you talk about, being ready with the issues and not just when the camera's on, you just start babbling and talking about nonsense.
Yes.
That you actually have a plan and a place you're going and that things are well thought out. This did not happen to Trump over the weekend. He had another one of those moments where it was, kind of like the boat and the shark and that. Remember that when he was talking about that? This is somewhat similar. Tony, we have a video over the weekend of Mr. Trump. He kind of went off on a tangent to the point where Fox has to actually cut away from his speech. Check it out.
Where there's so much water, you don't know what to do with it. It's called rain. It rains a lot in certain places. But no, their idea, did you see the other day? I opened it up and they closed it again. I opened it, they closed it. Washing machines to wash your dishes. There's a problem. They don't want you to have any water. They want no water. And I was with...
And you were just listening to former President Trump and...
What? Yes. It's that face.
What
just happened?
A water saving or energy saving mode on a washing machine or a dishwasher. They're called dishwashers, not washing machines. I mean, it's just misspeaking and when he believes that he has this thing or that has a revelation, and it goes back to moments like can we shine a light inside the body?
He's
to
not good
kill
off
the
script.
COVID?
Not good. I mean, I will say when he goes off script, there's some real doozies that he lobs out. But this is another one of those things where he looks like, okay, Grandpa, let's have a seat in the chair. You look like you're nutso. And even the Fox News people are like, okay, we don't really know what's happening to him now, so we're just going to check out for a hot minute. That's embarrassing. And that's why he needs debate prep, because this is the type of thing that he gets the mic in his hand and he just starts running at the mouth.
He is, drunk on his own hubris, and he thinks he's going to go in there and play the greatest hits and, come up with a couple of zingers accusing, Joe Biden of being of losing a step or being senile, and he'll probably say something about Hunter Biden, and it'll, hopefully he's hoisted on his own petard,
I bet he's come up with like one or two catchphrases for the night.
Yeah.
And as long as he keeps saying those, that's what he thinks all he needs. He doesn't need substance. He's not going to tell us a plan. He'll say, I'll reveal my plan in 2 weeks, and then we never get the plan. So a couple of zingers, probably he thinks all he needs to handle that night.
I hope Joe takes his Geritol before the debate. I like Joe Biden. I don't love Joe Biden. He's, I wish we had a younger kid, because if you see, I think he's mentally okay, especially for a man his age. And I think morally, he's got a good moral compass, especially in comparison to Trump. And, he's who we got right now.
Yeah.
But man, some of those videos of him, there was a video of him, and there was like a musician playing, and he's just standing there, and it was like borderline Mitch McConnell freezing, the way he was just like standing there while everyone was dancing around him.
I don't know how much I trust those videos anymore. After seeing how edited some have been of late, I just wonder, is that something, is there a context that we didn't know? Is there something else to that? Did someone edit that, lengthen it? I don't know. I don't know anymore.
They're doing marvelous things with the deep fake technology, Kim.
They're calling them cheap fakes now too. Yeah. So, on Monday, we kind of dig into the dark side here on the Mark Thompson Show.
Uh-oh. I thought we were already there.
It seems like it, but no, we're going darker. We're going deeper and darker.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We bring on Courtney, who's we call her Mark's better half, and we believe this because she's amazing. And she has an affinity, a fascination, a love of true crime. All right.
Let's pay a visit to Mark's True Crime Corner.
This is not a good neighborhood. I'm scared.
Now, here's your host, Mark Thompson.
Hey, it's not Mark Thompson, it's Kim and Hal, but we will welcome Courtney to the show. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Courtney. Lovely to see you again.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Two things.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, right, Hal? Did you recently have a birthday?
Yes, thank you so much. I went to Disneyland yesterday. That's why I'm wearing my ears, my custom ears I got there.
Very cool. That was my second question. That was my second question. So
yes, I'm still riding the high of Disneyland. We went there. We have a 10.5-month-old daughter, and it was just a lovely time. I just don't want it to end. So one more day with these ears. Thank you for obliging me this goofiness, Kim.
Did your daughter get her first Disney ears?
No, we did, because they didn't have any. We bought her a hat just to shield her from the sun, the intense heat yesterday, but they didn't have any that quite fit her as of yet. So, but we did get her just a random Disney hat to plop on her head. Yeah.
Oh
all right, enough of the happy, because Courtney is bringing us the dark.
Ooh.
Courtney's she's all about murder, scams, the underbelly of society. Yeah. What have you for us this week, my friend?
Oh, well, it's interesting. I was doing research for a story, and I came across a story that I remember. I'm of the vintage of when this happened. And Mark and I had watched a movie 2 weeks ago. Hopefully I'm not too echoey, by the way. Without Mark here. Okay, good. I'm left to my own avail. It's not pretty. But we watched a film called The Founder. I don't know if you've seen it. It's about
with Michael Keaton.
With Michael Keaton.
About Ray Kroc.
Yeah, about Ray Kroc, exactly, and the founding of McDonald's. And it was made in 2014. So when Mark suggested to watch it, it was cool. But I had seen it, and it was a nice sort of revisiting of the story, which is really a crazy story. Almost reminded me a little bit of Tesla in some sort of ways, because Ray Kroc was not the founder of McDonald's, but in fact, I think the success and the growth of McDonald's certainly is attributed to Ray Kroc. But I was researching for this week's true crime story, and I stumbled upon the McDonald's Monopoly scam. And I don't know if either of you remember this, but it was featured in a documentary that, get this documentary came out like February 3rd of 2020. So
wow, that's the before times.
Yeah, it's like right as the pandemic is coming up. And I remember watching it. Certainly you had a captive audience, but I think even at that point, people were still trying to understand like what the pandemic meant. So maybe some people have seen this and some have not, but I am going to cover the story of the McDonald's Monopoly scam. And affectionately, I keep calling it McMillions because it's a clever name and sort of it's been branded like that, kind of in the channels that I was listening to and watching. But certainly it stands on its own. This was a six-part documentary that was done that was featured on HBO. So if you go to the next slide, and I don't know if either of you remember this like at all or were at McDonald's. It started in 1987. So.
I remember the Monopoly thing.
Yeah.
Where, you could get free items. Sometimes you would win a free item and then you would try to collect the pieces, like the boardwalk and the whatever. And if you got the 3 pieces, which was nearly impossible, then you would win some type of monetary prize, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is so funny because I found this image and like Countrywide, I think was part of the huge, financial implosion in 2008 or whatever. And, like Compacts, all these like older brands associated with this thing. But yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it was. If you go up, sorry, Tony, really quick, up to Simon Marketing. So yes, Simon Marketing was a partner of McDonald's that did all of their marketing and came up with a lot of really interesting ideas. And Monopoly, when they ran Monopoly, McDonald's revenue went up 40%.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Oh,
40%.
That's substantial.
Well, I guess you've got to go back and collect your pieces. So you got to keep going back and back and back. It makes sense, right?
Exactly. And it's also about like the human mind and behavior around collecting, which you spoke to, right? So it's not even just a chance to win, but it's this idea of like, I'm going to get all of the whatever pieces and then that's going to get me some large prize, but it's in the pursuit of that. And so, but Simon Marketing came up with the Happy Meal in 1979. And that was really the first big thing that they did for McDonald's. And that fundamentally changed not only the business, but the perspective of we need to be marketing to the kids, even more so arguably than the adults, because the kids have some purchase power and influence over the parents.
So are we saying Simon Marketing is responsible for the poor health of children and childhood obesity in America? Nice job, people. Good job.
Oh, but Kim, what about those cool toys?
Oh, there is that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a dotted line there. But yeah, so Simon Marketing comes up with this idea around Monopoly, and they pitch it to McDonald's. McDonald's green lights it. And in 1987, the program starts. And so as you talked about, the program was on each of the beverages and fries and burgers that people, whatever else that people were buying, there were these little cards. I think if you go down, it shows like somebody pulling off one of these little tabs. And then the tab would be some sort of Monopoly piece. Now, it did offer several $1 million prizes, $25,000 prizes. These were all high value tabs that you would win. And there were various ways that you could win, like maybe you needed one piece plus the $1 million winner. But there were certainly a lot of different options. Most people were winning like free small fries. We can be honest about that. But this was this game, and they ran it on and off. So they would run it for a little while and then they would stop it. But it was so hard not to run it all the time because it was performing so well for them. So if you go to the next, if everybody's watching, So the people involved in this scam on the side of the government started out with the Jacksonville FBI team. And if you're watching this, the former squad supervisor is Chris Graham. And so he ran the team. And it was his team that got a tip. Someone called in and they said, the McDonald's Monopoly game is rigged. It's rigged. It's a scam. And they said every single winner of the $1 million prizes is from the same family.
What?
Yeah. So that was big.
Red flag.
That's a big red flag. Now, I'll get to it in a second how this all happened. But this comes into the FBI. And if you go down, this gentleman here, his name's Doug Matthews. He's super funny. He's very charismatic. He's quirky. And you can tell that the other FBI agents are kind of like, yeah, Doug's Doug. That kind of energy. But Doug is really the one that if you go down, there was a little tiny Post-it note, literally a Post-it note on one of the senior FBI agents' computers. And
look at that old computer.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Doug goes and says, I want to do this. I don't want to do what I'm doing currently, which was healthcare fraud. I want to do something more exciting. And so he looks into McDonald's and he looks into this call and he calls the informant and the informant says, every single person that's won any of the big prizes, they're all related. It's a familial tree that's coming out of Jacksonville and you should look into it. So he does. He starts to look into it. And if you go down, as he's looking into it, this name keeps coming up, which is Uncle Jerry.
Oh, Uncle Jerry did it for sure.
Exactly. and actually, because the name was Uncle Jerry, they immediately thought it was the mafia.
Because really?
Like the sort of name that you're given as sort of a representation of the hierarchy in the mafia is like uncle. And so they started to think like, oh, this is probably mafia related, this Uncle Jerry. But if you go down, they get enough evidence from looking into the familial trees and seeing who's won that they go to the assistant U.S. attorney, Mark Devereaux, and he opens a case with them. Now, the case
who are we looking at here?
This is this is the Mark Devereaux.
Okay.
U.S. attorney,
mm-hmm.
And they were trying to come up for a name for the whole operation, and like I would have hoped that they would have come up with something like Hamburglar or something cool. You know what I mean? Like they're
right.
like hot fries or something. Unrelated reason, weird non sequitur, they ended up calling the operation Final Answer because Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You can see there on the top if you're watching. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was like a super popular show when this investigation started. Now, the entire scam started in 87, but the FBI got involved in 2001. Now, to give you some context as to how and why they brought in Mark Devereaux, if you go back up, Tony, really quick.
That's quite a lot of years for something statistically impossible to be happening with all these same family people winning. It took them a long time to catch on. Yeah.
So if you go down, So the odds for winning the McDonald's Monopoly for one person to win $1 million was 1 in 250 million. For two relatives with both winning was 1 and then 1 in 15 zeros behind it. I don't even know how to say that number. And then three relatives all winning was 1 in 3 with 23 zeros behind it. So it was like very clear.
Winning the lottery, getting struck by lightning, and bitten by a shark in the same day.
Man.
It's like Mark winning at poker. But
burn.
But no, I mean, it was very obvious to them that this was no longer a coincidence. So they start the investigation. Now it's 2001. From what they know, every single person that's won has won through this chain of people. And it all starts with Uncle Jerry. And so what happens is, if you go down, thank you. This is Uncle Jerry. Now, Jerry was head of security for Simon Marketing. And so what Jerry would do is he would take the pieces that were of high value, and it was like the nuclear bomb codes that are like attached to the Secret Service's wrists through like some sort of attaché or briefcase. Like,
the nuclear football.
Yeah, he would take the high value tabs on this briefcase that was connected to his wrist, and he would fly to the manufacturers of all the paper goods, and then they would put on these winning tabs. But what happened is Uncle Jerry here, he got sent some of these seals that would seal the envelopes with the high value tabs. So he would go away from the people that were with him to protect these high value, where they were flying these to the paper manufacturers, and he would switch out the high value tabs for the regular tabs, and then he would take the high value tabs and then he would distribute them to people in his network. So you can see here a visualization.
Uncle Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, they were like in like snack sacks, like Ziploc bags that weren't even closed.
Man, this whole scam is dirtier than the ball pit at a McDonald's play place.
Yes, it is.
And that thing is rife with germs.
It is rife with germs. And it starts out, the first person that Jerry goes to in 1987 with this is his stepbrother. His name's Marvin Braun. He gives him a $25,000 tab and they test it. And so Marvin goes, he claims it. And then the agreement that Jerry had with every single winner, Uncle Jerry, was that they give him half. So then Marvin gives him half. So this continues on. So this is the scam. It continues on for years. Actually, the mafia does get involved. This is, if you could imagine, Jerry Colombo does actually sound like a mafia name. He was, in fact, part of the Colombo family out of New York. He gets involved. He wins a Dodge Viper. Uncle Jerry gives him a Dodge Viper tab. And he ends up in a McDonald's commercial in 1995. His wife, Robin, ends up helping select a lot of the people who won. Now, a lot of the people who won were people who were down on their luck, people who needed the money. They were in debt for whatever reason. They were working, blue collar jobs. And so a lot of the money went not only to family members, but people within their network that definitely, could have used that cash. Probably not stolen, but could have used that cash. So you'll see a couple examples of that. But it is in 2001 when they get that call in, that tip, that they start to do the investigation. And the investigation begins with Michael Hoover. Now, I will quickly talk about a rumor, which is that it is rumored that Jerry Colombo's mom, whose name was Ma Colombo, is the informant and is the one that called the FBI.
Oh, Ma. Okay.
Man, why'd she sell her son down the river? Interesting.
Ma just ratted out her whole family. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, really, it's so surprising for a mafia family to be sort of going against one another. Mm-hmm. But
Spencer in the chat said that the woman who you were showing previously looks like a psychic. Can we go back to that? Oh, yes.
Yeah. All she's missing is the crystal ball.
She does. She does. You know what's so funny too is, like, I was listening to a podcast with the creators of the documentary, the docuseries, and like her biggest complaint was there was too much red. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of red.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot more, I think, to take issue with in
Yeah.
this interview. But she does look like a psychic. She's funny. She has a really interesting story, obviously, having been married to someone in the mob for many years. So I'll briefly talk just through, like, the FBI goes, what they start to do is interview the winners in 2001. And so they start to talk to everybody, and they're telling them that they're going to do like this big celebratory coming together of all the winners since 1987 to 2001 in Las Vegas. And they do these interviews with all the winners about how they won and what they did with the money. And in doing that, they're tapping all of their phones. And so they have enough information that's coming from the tapped phones to then make arrests in August of 2001. It's interesting because what they did too is like they interviewed everybody and then they had McDonald's stop the payment, and a flurry of calls went into Uncle Jerry. And that was really like enough information for them to prosecute everybody, which begs the question of like why Uncle Jerry didn't use lots of burner phones. He had everyone calling one number. I don't know. It's weird. But they that incriminated him. His trial started, Uncle Jerry's trial started on September 10th of 2001. So that's why not a lot of people heard about what happened. Yeah. But he, in fact, pled guilty. He spent 3 years in jail and he had to pay back $12.5 million. Other people were found guilty for obviously participating in it. I think most of them had house arrest and had to pay like restitution. So this was actually optioned to be a film by 20th Century Fox. It had attached Ben Affleck to direct and Matt Damon, who I think was going to play the original investigator, Agent Matthews, Doug Matthews. But that was 2018. So who knows? Maybe there's a McDonald's film in our future, a second one.
Oh, this
is fraud.
So interesting. But you say it's a documentary?
Well, so the available content is a 6-part documentary, which is on. It was on HBO. It's now on Max. That's totally available. That was released in 2020. What has been optioned, and that's called McMillions. What has been optioned is a feature film starring Matt Damon and directed by Ben Affleck. But that has not been made. Yeah. So
yeah, that should be made.
Yeah, it should be made. It's a really interesting story.
I'm fascinated they got away with this for so long.
I know, so long, 12 years.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if they had just, there's so many what ifs. Like if they had just stopped. Also, when I mentioned Jerry's phone, like originally when they started the investigation, every single winner was calling one number over 12 years. I mean, it just really, and like, why go only to family members? Here I'm trying to help him make the crime better.
Well, like, if you had only been in charge, Ma,
you gotta call somebody who knows how to do this. No, but it's interesting. I mean, it's a chance thing, right? He was in the right place in the right time, and he got these seals, and he could seal the envelopes, and in that power, he could take out the high value tabs and replace them with, small fries.
I think we're skipping over kind of the elephant in the room here, that this corruption continues to happen under Mayor McCheese's regime.
Yep. It's definitely true. Look at that.
It's true.
Oh, God.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It really is.
Kim and Courtney, please weigh in on this if you have any information. Was there any talk of Mayor McCheese being one of Trump's VP picks?
I don't think so, but I think we might do better to have a Mayor McCheese in place. Oh,
hell yeah! I mean, Trump loves his hamburgers.
Yeah.
Courtney, what an interesting story to bring. And you know what? It might be because, as you say, this is back in 2001, and our thoughts were elsewhere. But I didn't know half of this. So
really?
I knew there was something hinky. And when you said last night, I thought, "Oh, what's that?" And I was gonna look it up, and then I thought, "I'm not. I'm gonna be surprised by this." I'm shocked. There's Mayor McCheese. There he is. Oh, Courtney, thank you for the good story. I love it.
Of course.
Courtney, this was this was great, and I think you really had a great divining rod. I think this is a story that we didn't unpack, and it came out at that time when we're consumed with the pandemic. So I loved hearing you break this down. It's such a fascinating tale.
Do they still do the McDonald's monopoly, or did they just kind of squash that?
You read my mind. My next comment as I was leaving was going to be, this is why we can't have nice things. And so they no longer do it in the U.S., but they do it in other countries.
Oh,
Okay, that makes
So I don't know what
sense.
we're relegated with because we don't go to McDonald's very much, but yeah,
I like those breakfast sandwiches. I mean, I'm a suck and the fries,
Yeah.
but yeah, if it's a hamburger, I'm gonna go to In-N-Out or someplace just a little better.
Yeah,
Little highbrow.
more elevated.
Yeah.
You're such a Californian, I'm telling you.
I know.
Courtney,
I'm
please stick
bougie.
around. You are bougie with your little mouse ears. I have a question from the chat for you, Courtney. So stay with me for just a minute. But
Of course.
this is True Crime Corner.
True Crime Corner, only on the Mark Thompson Show.
So to take it from crime to now what's going on with the Thompson family, and Brian is asking if we've been forwarding our love to Mark and his mom during this time of mourning of his wonderful dad. And I know that Mark has seen comments and has felt the love, but I wanted to give you a chance to respond and let us know what's going on with Mark.
Yeah. Everyone has been so generous with their checking in and sending love, and I know it means so much to him right now. And in all of these situations, we knew his father was sick, but it felt still very sudden and happened very quickly. And Mark is so joyful and always just a calming presence and energy, and I think he's very much that. As much as you can be with his family right now. This service was wonderful. I'll let him talk about that. He said some beautiful words and told a really sweet story about his father. And he seems to be getting through it. I think I spoke with his mom yesterday, and he really is a rock for her. And that's really nice to hear. And his father was beloved. His father was brilliant. I mean, make your knees weak, brilliant. Like, I felt underprepared for every conversation I was going into him on my knowledge base. But he was so curious and always a teacher and taught me a lot, and always was interested in what other people were doing. And I thought that was such an admirable thing. So thank you for asking. He feels your love. Mark feels your love. He hears your love. He sees your love. And I do think that is a critical component and part to, as he, looks to figure out life now and kind of get through what will be a time of grief and change. So
Courtney, thank you for that. Thank you for hanging out with us today. I know that it's kind of rough over there, but I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Happy birthday, Hal. I
you,
really enjoy you guys letting me do this every week. So
Yay!
thank you.
Lovely to hear from you, and also please send my wishes of strength and peace to Mark's family.
I will. Thank you. Thank you
All
both.
right.
Take care.
You, Courtney. See you next time.
Bye.
Kim, I'd like to just point out, I peeked over at the chat here, and like there's some political back and forth, and like one or two people called me out for my lefty take or whatever. And I just want to say to them, hey, don't forget, everything here is coming from a schmuck wearing mouse ears right now. So, I'm not exactly the Noam Chomsky over here. So
this doesn't make you a schmuck. This makes you a more lovable in my
man
book.
of the
We'll
people.
take
Man
that.
of the people.
That's right. Exactly. Let's do a little bit of news. I welcome your comment. We have stories from the sky coming up. We have a That's Rich coming up. So there's a lot of great segments ahead. But first, the news. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Mark Thompson Show. This report is sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com.
Kim, before you go into the news, can I ask you a quick question?
Please.
Kim McAllister,
Yeah.
Any relation to Kevin McAllister?
No, but it is spelled the same.
Okay, so you
Two
weren't.
C's.
So you had no part in him being left alone at least twice.
No, but I have threatened my children with it. I'm kidding. No, I haven't.
I might take a page out of that parenting handbook. By the way.
The Supreme Court will take up a challenge to Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors during its next term. The High Court will review an appeals court ruling that upheld that law. The decision on the constitutionality of the Tennessee law will impact laws in as many as 20 other states as well. We got extreme heat taking a toll worldwide. There was more than 1,400 records shattered last week alone. And I don't know if you heard this, Hal, but more than 1,000 Muslim pilgrims died making the Hajj journey to Mecca.
I did hear that. I mean,
Yes,
just
sad.
horrific. But meanwhile, the anti-climate change contingent buries their head in the sand. Nothing to see here. Just wild. It's going over 100 degrees in Madison, Wisconsin today. It's everywhere. It's wild.
Here in
I'm
the
just
U.S., there are
glad it
more
was a
than
little forgiving at Disneyland yesterday.
yeah, totally. There are more than 100 million people under heat advisories right now in America.
Wild.
Yeah.
We are past the point of no return here. We need, and Trump gets into office. That's just one more thing. Pulled us out of the Paris Climate Accords.
Yep.
It's just regressive in so many ways.
Agree. A new poll shows President Biden leading former President Trump by a wide margin among young voters. The CBS News YouGov poll, CBS YouGov, found 61% of likely voters younger than age 30 support President Biden compared to 38% of younger voters who plan to vote for Trump. Abortion, climate change, and diversity, key issues for young voters. Only about a third of those surveyed plan to cast ballots in November. So,
Oh boy.
it's about, they already have the support for President Biden. It's about motivating them to get to the polls. How do you do that?
Yeah, gotta get them out there, and because
That's frustrating.
Like as the father of a daughter, I fear for her future, like women's reproductive issues and just the climate that Trump poses. Oh gosh, just a meaner, worse off place.
Speaking of what you just mentioned, reproductive rights, the White House is marking 2 years now since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters today this decision has been devastating for women's health. She said more than 20 states have restricted or banned abortion following the end of Roe, impacting 1 in 3 women. That's a lot of women impacted.
Absolutely.
Sometimes in California we think, well, thank God we live here. It's not going to affect us. But you think about our, fellow sisters of America, 1 in 3 women.
That's wild.
That's something to go to the polls for. That's something to fight for.
100%, Kim.
The return of Boeing's Starliner spacecraft pushed back once again. It's made by Boeing. I'm just going to tell you, you got to watch this. Over the weekend, officials decided to extend the crew's stay at the International Space Station in order to do a little more testing and analysis on helium leaks and thruster issues that the Starliner has experienced.
Yeah, make sure those nuts and bolts are tightened as well.
Oh, God, make sure the door plug's all right. A return date hasn't been set, but it will likely not be until July 2nd. So they were supposed to come back. This whole Boeing Starliner fiasco, I don't know if they ever should have sent it up, but okay. I mean, the minute they started having helium leaks, I think, maybe not.
And also, be careful if you get in one of those, and be careful if you blow the whistle on Boeing. You know what I'm saying, Kim?
God, yeah, I do know what you're saying. I mean, you don't know if you're going to make it to the next day, right?
Yep.
Shaping up to be a record-breaking travel period for the 4th of July this year. Are you going anywhere for the 4th of July weekend?
No, just to hang out by the pool and watch some fireworks. We've got some friends in from out of town.
Yeah.
I'm debating whether or not to expose the baby to fireworks.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely?
Yeah,
Okay.
a little ear safety.
Yeah.
Right? So you put in the earplugs or put on the ear protection and then lean her back and let her watch the lights. if it's not too late, and if it's past her,
Yeah,
not
it
past
will
her
be
bedtime.
probably past her bedtime, but yeah, I love seeing her filled with a wide-eyed wonder. So
Absolutely. AAA predicts nearly 71 million people will travel 50 miles or more during the holiday travel period, running June 29th through July 7th, which is up 5% from last year. So people are going back out. They're doing more things. I know COVID is on the rise this year, but I think people are ready to just get back to what they used to do.
yeah, the old COVID restrictions have loosened quite a bit. Just the recommended quarantining and everything.
Yep.
Be a solid citizen. Don't be the Pied Piper of COVID or anything. But what are gas prices like nowadays?
They're pretty expensive where I live. They're like $5.30, $5.40.
LA's weird. Like you're at one gas station and it's like $5.50, but then you go to another gas station like a couple miles away or a mile away and it's $1 cheaper. So
isn't that weird?
Yeah. It's the high trafficked areas that they really try to stick it to you. And also, LA, you go 1 mile over and it's a bougie rich enclave, and then 1 mile south and then it's a little more more rough around the edges. So
Governor Gavin Newsom is set to give his State of the State address tomorrow. This comes after reaching a nearly $300 billion budget deal over the weekend. He says this closes a roughly $47 billion shortfall while preserving programs that California relies on, like education, healthcare, and expanded behavioral healthcare services as well. It means a cut of almost 8% to every department, less, though, than what he first was thinking was going to have to be done. The agreement will be voted on this week by the full legislature before the budget takes effect on July 1st. At least they have it done this time, right? We don't have to wait and wait and wait.
Yeah.
Next step in tackling California's opioid crisis is now underway. A generic version of Narcan is now available over the counter, free for first responders, universities, and other qualifying organizations through the state's prescription drug label CalRx. Did you know we had a state prescription drug label?
No.
CalRx, we do. Other businesses can buy naloxone for $24 through Amneal Pharmaceuticals, which is about half of the market price. And we know this life-saving drug can reverse the effects of an overdose in 2 to 3 minutes. It's been known to save lives out there. So,
and it's so important. I mean, addiction is a horrible beast, and then just things being laced with fentanyl nowadays. What an epidemic. So yeah, the struggle is real out there.
Yeah. And the more hands that naloxone is in, then the more people that can be saved. Crews are making major progress on the front lines across California. They've now got the biggest wildfire nearly half contained as they also battle dangerous heat. The flames sparked a week ago today, burning just over 19,000 acres in Colusa County. Most evacuation orders there, warning orders there are downgraded to warnings. The state's second largest wildfire continues to hold at 16,000 acres along the Grapevine area of Los Angeles County. Containment, though, has doubled in a few days to 83%. There are still some evacuations in place. I think that's called the Post Fire, and it's near Gorman off of I-5. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, putting yourself in harm's way. My grandfather was a firefighter, and it takes, you got to be wired a certain way to be able to, you got to be selfless. You got to be brave. Firefighters, I don't think we really appreciate them quite enough. And it's, it's quite an undertaking, to say the least.
Where was your grandpa a firefighter?
He was a New York City firefighter.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah, he had a couple of really, I like to say my grandpa was a real rugged Jew. He was a firefighter, and he was also a prison guard.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
On Rikers Island.
He wasn't messing around.
He rode a horse around Rikers Island carrying a baton in his hand, like making sure no one was climbing over the gates and everything.
He's interesting.
Like in the 1920s. Yeah, he was quite a man, Grandpa Sidney.
I bet he had a lot of stories to tell.
He sure did. Did.
Oh, wow. That's very cool. California is taking action to help more people hit hard by Mother Nature. Governor Newsom proclaiming a state of emergency in 9 communities. For Los Angeles County, it's storm recovery from January. For the counties of Glenn, Humboldt, Marin, Napa, Santa Cruz, Solano, and Trinity, it's because of the waves of atmospheric rivers that came in February. Del Norte County is also included because of road damage from storms in March. So they've got some changes coming to California's most visited national park, which is big, especially during the summer months. A section of Yosemite's popular Mist Trail suffered a landslide 2 months ago, and it will have limited hours starting next week. It follows the Merced River, has amazing views of 2 waterfalls, also the main path leading to the Half Dome cables. The hikers might have to rethink their trip because repairs are going to be continuing through October. The trail will be closed Monday through Thursday, where it intersects with the John Muir Trail to the top of Vernal Fall. So if you were headed to Yosemite, check ahead. You might have to change your plans a little bit because there's some damage that needs to be repaired.
That's, I feel like I do not take enough advantage of seeing these natural beauties that are, afforded us, and, before they're gone, by the way, some of them. But have you been to some national parks, Kim?
I have been to Yosemite, and again, not as frequently as I would have liked, but I went hiking with a couple of guys that I used to work with, and we went up to this campground, and then as we were hiking down, 1,000,000 steps, my calves were burning. You'd think hiking up is harder. Hiking down can be as hard. So we're hiking down these stairs, and all of a sudden we're in this kind of canyon coming down these stairs, and the wind picked up, and it was fall, and all these colorful leaves started twirling around the canyon. It was seriously the most magical moment. And if I hadn't gone out, I hadn't done this, I wouldn't have that memory of just that amazing moment where it felt like, I don't know, it felt like something from a Disney movie, like Colors of the Wind, where all these colorful leaves were swirling, and it wasn't just in this little area; it was through the whole canyon. It was wonderful.
Oh, see, I mean, you can't manufacture that on your television or your smartphone.
No, you got to get out in nature to experience those things.
Absolutely.
So it's important. Plus, I think when you have a kid or kids or whatever, showing them that getting out in the world and experiencing nature and being active, they say you model it. And that's how the kids learn that's what they want in their life as well. So it's important. It's not such good parental modeling over here with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, boy.
He's back on his world tour. He was in Chicago over the weekend, and he did address his drunk driving in New York. Yeah. The alleged drunk driving. The 43-year-old singer drew cheers and applause when he told the audience it's been a rough week. That's all he had to say. It's been a rough week. Got a little love for that. He was arrested in Sag Harbor, Long Island last Tuesday after allegedly running a stop sign. He is kind of all over the road. They have video of him. It's kind of
What a dope. Yeah. What a dope. I mean, Can I, do we have time for just a quick anecdote?
Please bring it. Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right. So, I've drank and drove before.
You have? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not proud of that. Haven't done it in years, probably a good decade plus. And I was pulled over once, and it was in college. Now, it's terrible. Don't drink and drive. It's stupid. That's why I don't do it anymore.
We know better now.
Yeah, I know better, and I know if I'm going to have a drink, I will. That's thank goodness I have access, and I can afford to take an Uber or a Lyft if I'm ever, or I have a designated driver. So, thank goodness. Now, here's a silly anecdote, though. When I was in college, I guess I drank about a 6-pack while I was sitting around watching a movie. Again, I know it's stupid. Feel free to berate me in the comment section because it's idiotic behavior. Right. But I had heard an old wives' tale, an urban legend, that if you suck on a penny, you will blow clean on a breathalyzer.
What?
I don't know. I heard it, and I was a dumb college kid. Now I'm a dumb older gentleman. But Uh, the lights. Oh, so after I drank the 6-pack and I was watching a movie, coincidentally, I was Dazed and Confused. So
It was
a
a whole
movie
theme
about
of the night. Yeah.
yeah, a movie
Uh-huh.
about imbibing a little too
Yeah.
much. I started going the wrong way down a one-way street.
Oh
And what a
no.
dope. And the lights go on behind me. I pull over. What college was this? I went to Penn State, John Watson. And as soon as the lights went on behind me, I'm like, oh, great. I'm done for. I popped a penny in my mouth, though. Had it deep back there, like a little piece of chaw or chewing tobacco or something, like, just back in the corner of my mouth, and took me out of the vehicle. I did the field sobriety test.
Yeah.
I thought I passed it fine, not for this police officer's
No.
liking, and could smell it on me. So they had to make a call in for someone to bring down a breathalyzer. So I'm waiting about 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, I still got the penny in my mouth. Breathalyzer came and blow into it. Clean.
What?
Somehow, some way.
Are you kidding me?
I kid you not, Kim. When have you ever known me to be a kidder? Don't answer that. But
What?
I blew clean, and the officer insisted that I walk from my car and leave it. So I walked across the street to a baseball field where I got down on the ground and watched the police as they were
Oh my
finishing up their
God.
business. They went, and then I ran back across the street, got in my car. Oh, and it didn't help that I was driving a ridiculous car at the time.
What were you driving?
I drove a repurposed postal Jeep
Oh my God.
that had the steering wheel on the other side. That was for my first couple of for the first couple of years in college. I drove a postal Jeep.
So
But
it used to be that you got pulled over for drunk driving, they let you off with a warning. It wasn't until I want to say sometime in the 80s where they started taking it seriously. It was Mothers Against Drunk Drivers came out. This group formed and there were laws passed, and then it became like, oh, now we get it. That kills people. So maybe
Yeah.
we shouldn't drink and drive, but now fast forward to 2024, past your issue with the postal Jeep being pulled over.
Yeah.
And we all should know better now, right? So
absolutely.
there's no excuse for Justin Timberlake, who I'm quite
No
sure
excuse.
has enough money to afford an Uber.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
he's a man in his 40s. He's a father. You honestly need to know better. Those like would never, and it's been like literally decades since I ever risked anything like that stupidly.
Do you think the penny worked?
I don't know, because I've searched, I've Googled that since, and it's, seemingly debunked, but
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
Hal Rudnick almost busted.
Yes.
That's the name of your next movie. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Almost busted. There you go. The big night tonight. We've got Michael Schur ready to, wherever he is in the world, watch this. He's our political analyst who's also a hockey fan. The Stanley Cup trophy is on the line tonight after the Edmonton Oilers forced a Game 7 in the NHL Championship Series. The Oilers dominated the Florida Panthers 5-1.
Ooh.
In Edmonton on Friday, tying the best of 7 hockey series at 3 games apiece. The teams now return to Florida tonight to see who wins the Stanley Cup.
This has gotten me back into hockey, because
Really?
I was a big hockey fan, and then I had a real argument with my father over hockey. Like he just took it too seriously. So for my own mental health, I kind of rebuffed hockey. But and I kind of replaced it with NBA basketball, which I'm a big fan of. But this has really turned me back on to hockey. This series, I've gotten excited about it. Edmonton's got the best player in the NHL, Connor McDavid, whereas Florida, they've got the top to bottom better squad. And so this is potentially unprecedented, uncharted waters where Edmonton was down 3-0, and now they've come back 1, 2, 3 to deadlock it at 3-3.
Yep.
And it is unbelievable. And Edmonton, a very proud franchise in the 80s, they didn't just three-peat, they won 4 cups in a row with Marc Messier, of course, Wayne Gretzky, and an epic team. So this is a return to their former glory if they do it. And also, I know I'm an American, but there's something about the Stanley Cup. I feel like it belongs in Canada. And this would be the first time since the 90s when the Montreal Canadiens won the cup, potentially for the cup to go back. So I'd like to see Edmonton pull it off.
Wow. Okay. So at Edmonton, I don't know if it's anti-American for you to say that the cup belongs in Canada or not.
Yeah. In the Olympics, when it's USA versus Canada or USA versus Russia, I'm
Sure.
pulling for USA.
Yeah.
But in the Stanley Cup, I want to see the Oilers do it. I want to see
right.
the Oilers take it up there in Alberta.
Lastly, the U.S. Postal Service is honoring late Jeopardy host Alex Trebek with a stamp. He gets a
I find
stamp.
that to be lovely. And
Yeah.
isn't Alex Trebek a son of Canada?
Is he? I don't know.
I believe he is. I'm going to Google that while you continue with the story.
This was revealed by current host Ken Jennings on Friday's episode. The stamp resembles one of the game show's famous clue monitors and says, "This naturalized U.S. citizen hosted the quiz show Jeopardy for 37 seasons." You're right. On the edge of the stamp under the prompt, it's "Who is Alex Trebek?" written upside down. The stamp is now available for pre-order. It'll be released next month. So there it is. So if you are a fan of Jeopardy, maybe the Alex Trebek stamp is for you.
Oh, I love
cool.
that. I love that. That's such a cool stamp. Look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean Alex Trebek, what a gentleman. I mean, who doesn't like Alex Trebek? And immortalized on this stamp, and just what a fine gentleman. I mean, Jeopardy, of course they had trouble replacing him. Ken Jennings does a fine job, but I thought Mayim Bialik did okay. But Alex Trebek, what a gent, class act. Now, Kim, tertiary point, but related. We just said goodbye to Pat Sajak as the longtime host of Wheel of Fortune. And, part of me is a little dubious about Ryan Seacrest coming in.
You think so? I mean, that Seacrest, he can pull off anything.
He can. Okay, so you're a bit of you're a Seacrest fan.
Well, no, I think he's I think he does too much. Yeah. And then I think he tries not to burn out on all of these things, but I think he's spread too thin.
Yeah. I agree. I think that we've got a little too much Seacrest out there. He just strikes me as a little, although I guess I was going to say a little too smarmy, but Pat Sajak, he is a game show host. Like there is a lot of glad handing, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a purist.
It all feels not to use the word again, but it all feels very contrived. Like they have a shtick. You don't really get to know them as genuine people. They don't feel to me to be, maybe Trebek was, but Sajak never felt to me to be the same person off air he is on air. You kind of get that feeling for someone,
think that's
whereas
apt. That's an apt observation.
Yeah.
And how ageless is Vanna White?
I know. She's going to stay on for another couple years.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a woman in her. She's got to be in her late 60s, right?
I don't know. She doesn't look that old, but she's
right.
amazing.
You know what? I'm going to do a little more Googling.
Are you going to Google it
How
again?
old is that? I don't mean to spill her Hollywood secrets here, but Vanna White age.
Yeah, she's going to stay on for another 2 years, and I think they're going to pay her more money. Oh, there's pictures of Vanna White. They're going to pay her more money than she had.
67-year-old lady.
67?
Yes.
That's wild. Man, that's good gene. That's got to be a combination of good genes and plastic surgery. Take one of each.
good jeans and a good Beverly Hills plastic surgery.
That's what we have. This report is sponsored by CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. It is a little bit of heaven in your cup. Go to CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Take a look at it. I am addicted to the vanilla tea, and I just ran out. And now I have to put another order in today because I'm like, oh my God, I need the tea. They have really good teas. Mark says best coffee he's ever had, hands down. And when we say these things, we are true. We believe them. And so check it out, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. And when you get to the checkout portion, enter in the secret Mark Thompson Show code. It's Mark T all together. Mark T at checkout will save you 10% off just for being a Mark Thompson Show listener. Yay! So
Very nice.
I know that's where I'm headed today, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. I'm Kim. Is the Mark Thompson Show.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Y'all can all go to hell, and I'm going back to Texas.
I misspoke.
And I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community.
Why are you yelling?
It was great. I loved it.
How would you handle this?
We could try ignoring it, sir.
They pay me a lot of money for having attitude.
There's never been anything like this.
We've never seen anything like it before.
Nobody has ever put something like this together that I've ever seen.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
There is nothing in our history that quite compares to this.
I think I'm the most honest human being, perhaps, that God ever created.
God bless America. The end. Someone did this to spoil our Christmas.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Sayonara, sucker!
Mark Thompson Show. I'm Kim McAllister in for Mark Thompson. My co-host today, Hal Rudnick. Are you coming back tomorrow, sir?
Yes, I am. I'll
Yay!
be here. I don't know if I'll have the ears, but I'll have these ears, and I'll be listening to all of the news and all of your wonderful information, Kim. Thank you for allowing me into your world and just being so stellar. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, I'm so glad to have you here. Let's go and into the skies. We're going to do some air travel. It's Stories from the Sky. Yeah.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Enough is enough! I have had it with these monkey-fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane! Everybody strap in!
Oh, Boeing, we're back to you again. There is a Boeing plane that returned to the airport in Japan after a crack was found in the cockpit window. This is not what you want to see. It's there's the crack right there. It's an all Nippon Airways flight. It was en route to the Toyama airport. It was a Boeing 737-800 in the sky when the crack was found right in the window there in the cockpit. No. So
Yikes.
Saturday, the crack was found in the cockpit window as the craft was midair. Okay. So this is a domestic flight. It was on the way to Toyama Airport, but it had to go back to the Sapporo New Chitose Airport after this crack was found on the outermost of 4 layers of the window surrounding the cockpit. So, I mean, that's good. They have 4 layers of glass, so if something like this happens, but you don't want one of those layers compromised, so they had to turn it back around, set it back at the airport. No injuries. There were 59 passengers and 6 crew members aboard. This aircraft was not one of Boeing's 737 MAX 9 airplanes. This was a 737-800. Those have been in the spotlight after the whole door plug blew out situation on Alaska Air. They say the crack wasn't something that affected the flight's control or pressurization. And now they're looking into what exactly happened there. Did something hit it? Did it just crack on its own? Like what's going on? So
yeah, so it didn't take off with the crack. It acquired the crack while it was in flight.
Mm-hmm. That's what they think.
Well,
I mean, you'd notice that. That's a pretty big crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to blame Boeing for that, right? I think can we give Boeing a pass on this crack?
I'll accept it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll accept it. Let's
Kim,
talk about this plane.
Appreciate it. On behalf of Boeing, thank you.
We'll give him a break. One little break. This happened in Australia. This is an Australia Airlines plane, and it's in flight. It's approaching Vienna on Sunday, June 9th. And, sorry, not Australia, Austria. It's an Austrian Airlines plane. My bad. And all of a sudden, there's this violent storm that includes hail. Hail comes down. Look what it did to the plane. The whole nose cone gone.
What?
I'm telling you. Hail, baseball-sized hail, nailed the front of this plane as it's, barreling through the sky.
Talk about cracks. Does it look like it caused damage on those windows?
Absolutely, it looks like it. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So they say this hailstorm badly damaged this passenger plane approaching Vienna. This was widespread flooding on the ground, violent thunderstorms, hail breaking off part of the nose, leaving cracks in the cockpit windows of this Austrian Airlines aircraft. It was carrying people that were on holiday back from Mallorca. They had to issue a distress call, and the plane did land safely at the Vienna airport. No one injured. It had 173 people aboard and 6 crew members. According to the cockpit crew, the storm was not visible on weather radar. The plane had hit a thunderstorm cell. There was a passenger on the flight who told a U.S. news outlet that inside the cabin, they could hear it as the hail was hitting the outside of the plane. That has to be freaky.
How frightening would that be? That would have me talking to my higher power.
This passenger said it was quite loud and it was super rocky for a minute. The plane took about 2 minutes to fly through this hailstorm. So, yeah.
Oh, good grief. That plane looks like the car from the Beyonce Lemonade video. Boom, baseball bat, smash, smash, smash. That is, but to take off the nose cone.
Is that crazy? Yeah.
It's like wood underneath there. I mean, it can't be, but, or
maybe it can. I don't know what they use underneath there.
I don't know what the hell is inside that
I
mechanism.
don't know. Wild. Yeah, I thought the pictures are shocking. So there's that one.
Let me ask you, Kim. Are you cool with flying? Are you a nervous flyer?
I am not a nervous flyer. I am aboard a big aircraft like that. I have no problem. I did fly for KGO Radio in San Francisco doing traffic for a while.
Wow, so you were up in the copter.
I was up in the KGO Jetcopter 810.
Was there Doppler radar?
No, we didn't. I also was in the fixed wing aircraft, the little Cessnas that we use to fly over as well. So I'm not I'm not a nervous flyer. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Me neither. I'm totally fine with flying, except my first flight to Asia. I just started having a little bit of anxiety.
Oh.
Being like, oh my goodness, how long is this flight? And then I was thinking about how far away I was going to, because I was going, I flew to Asia I was going to be there for a month shooting a movie. And I just I don't know. I just got a little bit of anxiety about being so disconnected and on this flight. And but
how many hours was the flight?
Like 18 hours.
That's a long one. But you're going to sleep, right?
Yeah. So it turned out okay. But if you're going to, better off if you can do business class for a flight like that, much better.
Yeah, totally. We flew I went with my sister and my best friend to France right before the pandemic began, or right as it was beginning, before we knew it was a thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend was really concerned about the long flight and whether she was going to be able to handle it. And I look at that as it's a 5-movie flight.
There you go.
By the end of your 5th movie, the wheels touch down and you're done.
That I love that. It's like the king's measurement in cubits.
Yeah.
Kim's got her movie measurement. I like the way your mind works, Kim.
So then you get excited about, which movies have I wanted to see but haven't for a while?
Yes.
Right? 5-movie flight.
That's a great call.
Let's talk about this turbulence. This is This is a story about getting nervous. You talk about anxiety during turbulence being a really common experience. And the story is about how to avoid it, like what to do when your plane hits turbulence, right?
Yes.
They say 6 ways to get injured amid turbulence, according to air travel experts. Never stand up. Don't stand up when the plane hits a bumpy road. Just don't do it. I would argue don't stand up when your plane is being impaled by hail from the heavens. Don't do that either.
Good call. But what if you're in the restroom or something? Sometimes it's like, oh no,
run back
wrong
to your
place at the
seat,
wrong time.
Buckle in. They say if you are sitting during when it's turbulent, that you should keep your hips and your pelvis aligned with your knees while you keep your feet firmly planted on the ground, because slouching increases your chances of hitting your head on the seat in front of you. So you have to sit up, put your feet on the ground, try to keep your hips even, like get ready for it.
Good call. Keep my pelvis in line there.
They say dispersing weight between your pelvis and feet can take the pressure off of your back and make it easier to stay upright for longer. So this is a good tip, right?
Noted. I'm doing it right now.
They do say if you are rushing out of the lavatory, when turbulence strikes, don't rush back to your seat, as I had just mentioned doing. Stay in the restroom, finish your business, and sit on the latrine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, regardless of where you are, staying seated is the best thing you can possibly do for all those reasons mentioned above. Then when things have calmed down, that's when you go back to your seat and strap in.
Noted. Okay.
So I would have thought you would be bumping around the bathroom.
Yeah.
They say, no, just stay in there. This seems common to me. Don't open the overhead bins.
Oh,
yeah. Because, crap falls out. You don't want that.
Potentially shifts during flight.
Don't leave your tray table down. Your face, chest, or abdomen can slam into your tray and cause injury.
Ooh, took it right in the gut. Right in the gut. Knocked the wind out of you.
Try not to panic. No. Okay, don't panic.
Don't
Easier said than done.
panic.
This is another story. Speaking of panic.
One more thing they left out, though, Kim.
Yeah.
Do not apply lipstick. For those who have seen Airplane,
no.
It's going to end up right up the side of your face.
Right up the side. It's danger, high danger. This story is about 13 passengers injured as a Boeing plane malfunctioned.
No.
Yeah, it's a Korean Airlines flight to Taiwan. The 13 passengers taken to the hospital after the aircraft dropped more than 25,000 feet after a fault in the cabin pressurization system. Korean Airlines forced to make an emergency landing in Incheon, South Korea, Saturday after this incident, the latest in a string of reported defects in the Boeing aircraft. The flight departed from Incheon International, and it was set to arrive in Taichung International, Taiwan, 2 hours later, but about 50 minutes into the flight, pilots became aware of a fault in the aircraft's cabin pressurization system, and the plane dropped from an altitude of 35,000 feet to under 10,000 feet within the span of 10 minutes. The aircraft was a Boeing 737 MAX 8. It wasn't the MAX 9. The passengers were forced to put on the oxygen masks, which dropped from the ceiling. Children aboard cried as the plane began its rapid descent.
Yes. That's 10 minutes. That's got to feel like an eternity. And you're just dropping and waiting to hit the ground, I would think.
Well, the rapid change in cabin pressure caused multiple people on this plane to suffer from headaches, hyperventilation, eardrum pain, nosebleeds, and so at least 13 people had to go to the hospital for this. And the plane was diverted back to Incheon because it was only 50 minutes into a 2-hour flight. So, again, when it landed, 13 passengers were taken to the hospital as a result of this. No one seriously hurt, but that's got to be scary.
Beyond a life-altering incident where you've got to be bargaining with with your maker. They say there are no atheists in foxholes, and there are no atheists in planes that are dropping 20,000 feet in 10 minutes.
Crazy.
I do want to point something out, though. In the chat, OCB looked at that picture of that Korean airline plane and said, that's not a 737 Max. OCB, I want to know, please let us know. How do you know so much about planes? How can you just identify?
Me. Technically, that's a 747 because it's got the double decker. The second row, the upper level, that's a 747.
Gotcha. Well, look at the big brain on Tony.
I know.
I quickly got a picture. That's me.
Gotcha.
No, it's good. We'll take it.
Tony, I salute you. I would not have known the difference. It took this discerning air. Tony, OCB says, I know all. That is it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Now we know.
Tony, I do not fault you. I give you the thumbs up for you. I think you're quick on the trigger here, and
too quick on that one.
No, Tony.
Your picture finding is magic. Absolutely.
It took a savant like OCB to call you out. So, Tony, no fault of yours. We just have we just have.
I don't need your pity.
Dead eye. The real dead eye.
I'm back in the background.
Well, it turns out that you don't have to be in the sky for crazy things to happen. The plane in question was being boarded at Piedmont Triad International Airport in Greensboro on Friday morning when all of a sudden a garbage truck hit the plane. And the whole plane starts to shake. And the passengers are trying to board the plane, and the whole thing's rocking back and forth. They had to deboard the plane. The flight was delayed for several hours. One of the passengers said, we just boarded when we felt a very strong jolt for several seconds, and then another one. And it turns out that this is the Wake Forest basketball head coach, Steve Forbes, was aboard. He said, here's a new one for those of us who travel by air. Sitting on a plane in Greensboro, preparing to depart, plane begins to violently shake. Is it an earthquake? Nope, just a garbage truck running into the plane. Pretty sure we're going to be delayed. And that they were. That was an American Airlines plane headed to Dallas. Everybody got off the plane fine, nobody hurt. The truck had been operated by a contractor. Part of the truck got stuck in the plane, so that wasn't a good accident.
Yeah, you can see it hanging off the wing there. I mean, I would be furious with this garbage truck driver. I mean, God, I was saluting our firemen earlier. Our sanitation workers, like they do a thankless job. Not only are they dealing with our crap, but they are often unnecessarily the butt of jokes. Garbage men don't get the respect. But this guy, screw you, pal.
You gotta be careful.
What the heck? You had one job. Avoid the stupid airplane if you're doing the garbage detail at the airport. Oh, man. I would be furious.
I don't think he probably doesn't have a job anymore. No.
You know what?
At least
he had one job. Avoid hitting the plane. And now if he doesn't have a job, well.
No, it's the way it goes.
Oh,
do you fly out of LAX?
Often, but when I can fly out of Burbank, I'll take it because that airport is so much, more inviting to navigate and to fly at. The logistics at Burbank Airport, so much more forgiving than LAX.
Well, there's a new reason for you to go to LAX.
Okay.
And it all has to do with Air France. They have just unveiled this very chic, very fancy new lounge at LAX.
Ooh.
In the Air France lounge at LAX, you get free facials, classic French food with views of the runway. Yeah. Just in time for the Paris Olympics 2024,
Ooh.
Air France revealing its 11,840 square foot lounge. It is the airline's first at LAX. It is the 6th Air France lounge overall in the U.S. It's part of Air France's wider global investment in lounges. And Los Angeles is one of the most important markets for the carrier. They said the reason for opening this lounge at LAX was very simple. Together with KLM, Air France has 7 flights per day out of LAX. And so this is why, with so much traffic there, they put in this amazing lounge. The only problem is that it's not super accessible. To reach it, you have to go on this underground passageway, and it's 10 to 15 minutes of walking time from the main part of this terminal. Air France is the first lounge tenant in the concourse, and while it is a bit of a trek, it's near the airline's gate and joint venture partner KLM, so that's why they put it there. But
Okay,
you really have to want to go there.
Yeah, you'd have to want to go there, and it would. I guess this is a stupid question. It would only be for international travel, correct?
I would think it would only be for passengers of Air France and KLM.
Yeah, so that would be. So they don't do domestic flights in the U.S.
No, I don't think so. No,
I don't think so. I'm asking you. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I'm thinking the answer is no, but that's a guess because
that's what it would seem. Well, we've been talking about doing some, wanting to take the baby on a trip somewhere. So, in the realm of possibility.
Yeah, they have a Clarence Spa, a wellness area. You can choose a complimentary mini facial treatments, the anti-jet lag, the anti-instant detox, or the illuminating eye care.
Oh my goodness.
They give you champagne or cocktails or mocktails. And it's, French food. So, hey, a little freshen up.
Have you ever hit up the Admirals Club or any of those type of...
No, I'm not fancy enough for that because usually you have to be like the top passenger echelon in order to get into that. And I'm always like the back in the coach. They don't let those people go in the lounge.
Yeah, me too. But my wife is fancier than I. And,
we like her.
Yes, since so I've been able to experience the Admirals Club a couple of times, and the one time with our baby, it was very helpful because we were able to go there and just kind of relax and give the baby some breakfast.
Oh, nice! There's the French food.
That was a nice experience. Oh, look at that! A little chicken cordon bleu.
That might be worth the 15-minute walk underground. Yeah. Look at that. You get your facial, you get your food, you get your champagne.
Oh mon Dieu, c'est magnifique.
Look at that. I like it.
What's our vector, Victor? Thank you, Walter. I love a quote from Airplane. Airplane, one of the great comedies.
The last stories from the sky has to do with the world's best airline for 2024 being named by this group Skytrax. They have announced this year's Skytrax Awards for the 8th time in the.
Can I give you a drum roll? Can I give you a drum roll?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
For the 8th time in the 25-year history of the prestigious award, known as the Oscars of Commercial Aviation, Qatar was named as the world's best airline.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. It's a remarkable achievement for Qatar Airways to win this world's best airline title for 2024.
Look at that little cubicle setup.
It looks kind of nice. It's the 8th time they have triumphed, according to the Skytrax CEO. They are being congratulated on their success, which should be a source of pride. They have this reputation on this airline for, it's comfortable, it's nice. I don't know. They use this voting system where they gathered surveys from 21 million customers from 100 countries about 350 different airlines. So people really love it. Yeah.
I've never flown Qatar. Josh in the comments section in the chat shouted out Rain Man loving Qantas because Qantas was the Rain Man wanted to fly Qantas because there were no plane crashes.
Oh, well, that makes a difference. They did say there were consolation prizes. Singapore picked up the prize for the world's best cabin staff. So that's nice, ANA Airlines picked up the prize for the world's best airport services, as well as best airline staff services in Asia. Saudia Airlines, I've not heard of it, was named world's most improved airline. I guess that's what you want.
Sure.
At the budget end of flying, AirAsia was once again crowned the world's best low-cost airline. So, there you go.
So, Kim, you're saying nothing for Spirit?
Spirit was not on the list, my friend.
Let me also ask you this, Kim. Is Spirit Airways the same company as Spirit Halloween Stores?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay.
That is Stories from the Sky.
This has been Stories from the Sky. The captain has turned off the seatbelt sign, and you are now free to move about the cabin.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, if Spirit Airways, that they should join forces with Spirit Halloween Stores and then put their flight attendants in fanciful costumes.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, that'd be super fun.
Even, it would be cheap. It would still be cheap, bad flight service, but fun all the way to your destination.
Fun for all.
Yes.
I wanted to end with this because we had an issue on the roadways in the Bay Area today. A truck carrying 16,000 pounds of avocados flipped over on a highway.
No.
Avocados, which right now are really apparently expensive, hard to get a hold of.
Right.
We've had warnings that there might be an avocado shortage. I don't know. Yeah, this
is not helping the case.
It happened on Highway 101 in San Mateo at the 3rd Avenue off-ramp at 3:40 a.m. So there weren't a lot of people on the road, but what a cleanup. They had to block multiple lanes until 8 o'clock this morning. So for the better part of the morning commute, they don't know what caused this truck to flip on its side, but North 101 was backed up for most of the morning as the guacamole there was in the roadway.
Yeah,
wow.
No, people should have just shown up with their chips, right? And just
a little cerveza, some chips.
Oh,
absolutely.
Turn it into a party. They have. I don't know if they have it in other parts of the country or up in your neck of the woods, Kim, but they closed down part of the classic Arroyo Seco freeway here, the 110 freeway, there's a day where people can just walk the freeway.
Yeah.
And turn it cyclists get out there, people can walk it. They should have just had an impromptu close the freeway and turn it into one of those. Oh, have you seen one of those butter boards?
No.
There are butter boards where they just smear a board with butter and then you just dip things
is that what they do at fancy restaurants now?
It became something that people, a TikTok trend of people doing it at home or they'll have they'll make nachos and just have it on a board. And
okay.
Turn that highway into just one long nacho experience.
Guacamole board, absolutely.
You know what? We might be onto something. I might want to bring this to life in my own, maybe just a portion of my driveway.
Woohoo! Oh, well, that is the show, Hal, and I can't thank you enough for being here. I couldn't have gotten through it without you.
No, Kim, what a pleasure. Thank you for just your selection of stories and knowledge and wonderful guest today. I really enjoyed myself.
Thank you to Luis and to Wes for contributing to the show. TheMarkThompsonShow.com is the website, and that's where you find the Patreon and the PayPal links for this crowdfunded show. So we appreciate all the ways that you participate and take care of it and keep it on YouTube. Huge thank you. It is a day off for the After Party Live, so that show taking a bit of a break just for today. We'll be back tomorrow for Travel Tuesday on the After Party, and I'll see you back here tomorrow, Hal. This is fantastic.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, you guys have a really great day, and we'll see you back here on the Mark Thompson Show tomorrow. David K. Johnston on the show, so it's going to be a good one.
Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show.
Bye, Tony. Bye, Kim. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Thank you, Tony. Bye, everybody.
All the time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.